Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a high-level best of 3. A best of 3 that was recommended as one of the greatest series in DreamHack Atlanta. In the top right, on Alcyone, playing for Cloud9, it is Gumiho. And in the bottom left, as our blue Protoss player, playing for Team Macherino, it is Astrea. So we're going to have a Protoss versus Terran best of 3 over here. With a double gas opener coming out of Gumiho. Love to see this stuff. See what else he has planned for us. Keep a little second depot. No scout, of course. Well, actually, no scout for both players here. That is not extremely common. It's also not the worst thing in the world. Gonna have to wait and see where Astrea is going to position his pylon on the low ground. Sometimes you see people, for safety's sake, just put the pylon right over here. This build is unsafe against a couple of things, and it mainly is unsafe against a proxy Reaper opener in which the bunker gets built in the Protoss natural. Especially if that bunker is connecting with the pylon, it becomes really difficult for Protoss players to, well, really just to deal with it. You're gonna have to wait and see exactly how Astrea is going to take care of all of this. Battery, blind tooth, gets constructed here. Sentry starts, okay. Instant sentry. That bad boy is going to be out extremely fast, of course, because the sentry doesn't take a whole lot of time to build. That's actually a cool little adaptation. I think that is very neat, actually. This is a very neat opener. He pulls unit. Yeah, this is workers out of gas as well. Okay. Oh, Gumiho here with the boost over the pylon is going to get into the main base. I love this opener here out of Astrea so far. I think it's really cool. Very, very cool. He says, hey, I'm going to have a slower first unit because I play Nexus before Core. On top of that, I am not scouting, which also, you know, means that I probably need to be a little bit safer. Gets that blind battery, gets an extremely quick Reaper as well, or an extremely quick Sentry, which is the only gateway unit that, well, that builds very fast enough to deal with, for example, a proxy Reaper or just a really quick Reaper in general. Despite all of those good efforts and the cool moves that Astrea made here, he's still going to be in quite a poor position, one could say, because he loses 3 workers to 2 Reapers. That is not what you want usually. Now, of course, he's mining a lot of minerals, but he is lacking in tech. He is definitely lacking in tech. Does not have a Stargate, does not have a Twilight Fight yet. Instead, opts for a robotics facility, gets a scout in with the hallucination, saw no medevac building quite yet, which is actually extremely suspicious. Why would someone rush out a starport and not get a medevac? There can only be one reason, because there's no gas. And there's no gas because there was a quick tank produced over here. I think if you're Astrea, in this particular situation, it is not a very difficult read to make that this is going to be a tank push of some sort. There's a third gas now going down, by the way, which is a very wild play. It's going to be a Raven, I think. Perhaps even with the interference matrix upgrade, and then I guess a tech lab here on the factory. Third CC gets built on location as we have a 4 Marine, 1 tank drop heading in towards the main base. This is a Terran versus Terran build order, and Gumiho here takes it to the Protoss versus Terran matchup. No third base coming out quite yet for Astrea, who's mainly focusing on the defense. This pylon is most definitely gonna die. You can just attack into this here, as Astrea has a lot of units. That pylon will fall though. Will the tank also go down? Needs to unsiege instantly the moment this shows up. There we go. Medevac under some heavy fire. Not quite going to fall. Get a recall in towards the main base. Target fire on the medevac. The tank will get in 2 more shots due to the target fire on the medevac, but everything else will fall. Cost him 2 stalkers total to do this, as well as this pylon mine. Well, actually a pretty major supply block here for Astrea. 62 out of 62. Now loses 2 workers and thus isn't supply block anymore. But this hurt. This seriously hurt, as Astrea has spotted, I think, the third base, has seen the complete lack here of the extra barracks. What the heck was Gumiho doing here? He floated a crap ton of money, just now adding 2 more barracks, now adding 2 E-base all at the same time, as well as a 4th gas. He's already floating a lot of gas though. I guess needs something here for these upgrades. Is that a second? No, this is a 3rd Raven. Triple Raven opener here. Out of Gumiho, as Astrea moves in forward, takes out that tank. Now tries to target down these Ravens, but that isn't quite working out. Immortal shows up as well. Target fire here on the Stalker. Not quite good enough. Grenade will take it out though. This Immortal is getting bounced around by that Reaper Grenade as well. Turret's going down. Overall situation, I think, favorable for Gumiho as he's up in workers, up a base. The only thing he's truly lacking is the infrastructure, which is something that Astrea does have down already. Look at this. Tech Lab now starts, or well, yeah, Tech Lab starts. Wait. Okay, I'm very confused here. It's going to be Stim, but no second Tech Lab for Combat Shield. So this is going to increase the window in which Gumiho is very vulnerable for really anything that deals damage. And Storm definitely deals damage. I think Astrea has no serious chance of taking this to a macro game, but he might have a shot here at just dropping Stormers into these tanks, killing the Marines, as there's not going to be Combat Shield for a fairly long time. Stim isn't that close to finishing yet either. And 8 gates now are actually done. Prism is out on the map. We have 3 Templar here in this Prism. There are not quite enough Zealots yet, as the triple Raven force here is moving out. Has the interference matrix, but instead it's just going to be using these auto turrets most likely. We have what? I think 5 or 4 available currently. Does this one have 2? Yeah, okay, 5 available. 5 auto turrets, not a single battery. Here comes a scan. Triple Stalkers is not going to be enough. I don't think so. Well, it's definitely not. Is there blink? There's no blink. Stalker's actually taking quite a beating here. As almost all energy gets used. We have one more auto turret that is ready to go. At the same time, Storm Drop heading in. Not with an attack though. This is going to be targeting the SCVs of Gumiho. Let's see how quick Gumiho is with the response. Oh, he's plenty fast here. He's planning fast. Was that just a single Storm available? Yeah, it was. Would have preferred actually if he would have kept that alive, maybe to utilize it on those Marines. Of course, these Marines still don't have Stim. They do have 1-1. No Combat Shield. Combat Shield just now starting. As at the same time, double Stormers as well as the Immortal attacks at the front. Gumiho taking a lot of damage here for, well, no real reason, it feels like. Zealots moving in forward. Immortal, can it get picked up? A little bit slow there with the pickup. As these Templars are being shot down right now by these Marines. Still without Combat Shield, anti-armor, or sorry, what it's called, interference matrix here on the Prism. As this game is starting to get extremely close right now. Worker counts are even, army supplies are very close as well, but a lot of the army supplies just in air units. There's 2 Ravens, 2 medevacs, and then there's 8 Marines and 1 tank. Tank in the far back, hasn't quite shot that much yet, does have 3 kills. Main base has been cleared. Combat Shield right now, a little bit over halfway done, as we're up to 7 barracks here for Gumiho, who just has been struggling this entire game with the macro portion of Starcraft 2, honestly. We do have, I prefer seeing 2 more Archons here, no? These 2 should also morph. It's not quite what's happening. There are 6 Templars out currently. It's a pure Marine force. First 3 Marauders just now starting. As a 7 Marine drop moves out as well. I feel like this is a misread out of Gumiho. Not quite understanding how all-in Astrea really is. And let's face it, he has 2 prisms. No, that's just the 1 prism. Okay, never mind. Here comes the prism. Archon plus Stormer. Storm not quite available yet. 5-6 energy away from finishing. Double Zealot run by going in towards the natural. This is a nice move. SCV's being pulled back. Storm now available. Does hit. Connects with all of these Marines. 12 more workers do go down. At the same time, 8 Marines in the main base. Recall activated. Will clear this medevac, or at least force it in towards a 3rd base where perhaps they can heal up a little bit. See if they can deal some more damage. 115 supply to 103. And that means that Astrea actually not in that bad a position anymore. Even in supply, but now up 15 workers. 4th base is done. Has his +2 armor on the way. Yes, he's going to be down in upgrades, and that sucks. But he's up in workers, and he's up a base. And this actually now is starting to feel like Gumiho is the one that is all-inning. Probably wants to wait until his 2-2 finishes up. Does have a powerful push, but there's no serious splash. Just a single ghost. And what is this? A single mine. And 1 tank. That's it. That is it for the big damage. Storm does get activated. Takes out 2 Marines and deals a bit of damage here on these Marauders. Of course, Marauders can tank quite a bit, but the fact that there's no splash here whatsoever on the side of Gumiho is going to make this fight hard. Feedback hits. EMP doesn't even get utilized here. At the same time, Prism moves in towards the main base. Astrea with A very unlikely comeback here in this game. Still needs to hold though. It ain't over till it's over. As this storm is going to connect in a big way with his entire army. Gumiho not quite sure how to micro here either. Loses 11 more workers to this warp in the main base. As Zealots are also hitting the third. The Templar showed up. I'm not quite sure where that guy came from. It is over here on the low ground at the third. One storm still available, I think. This is a fairly bruised army with low energy on these medevacts. Almost feel like that Astrea might just want to give up this base temporarily and say, hey, I'm so far up right now in workers, I don't want to hold this. That's not though what's happening. These Marines still fighting and they're dealing a lot of damage. Tank in the back, 9 kills total. The Immortal tanking quite a bit as these Blink Stalkers moving forward. No storm available. Hurts so freaking much. But this Bioforce is going to get pushed back for now. Third base did not get lifted here either. Gumiho with a couple of major mistakes in this game, really, just mechanically speaking, I think, as well. As he's about to get cleaned up here. These medevacts don't have the energy anymore. There's a lot of supply in those bad boys. Yes, his upgrades were great, but not quite great enough, I think. Well, no new storms available quite yet here for Astrea. Has a battery in the back going up. Triple sentries now coming in. Will be utilized immediately. As these triple force fields out a little, they stall, and I think that should be good enough here as the gateway count is rising up to 9. GG gets called. Gumiho forced to tap out here as Astrea takes the lead in this series. In the second game, we have both players sending out. I'm not even sure if this is the first worker out of both. I think it might be. It's very close to the first worker at least. Both players realizing that last game neither player scouted. They're like, all right, I'm gonna punish you, buddy. This ain't happening a second time. Oh, Astrea actually just going for the very quick scout here to try and block a barracks. Except the barracks isn't going down there. Oh no, Astrea. He's not going to make that read, is he? I don't think he's going to be in time for that read. Okay, now he should realize. This is the timing where he should realize. And then this worker should start looking for a barracks, I think. This is... I've discussed this particular situation quite a bit before. Because people always know. Terrence tell me all the time. Terrence... I'll have a little bit of brain damage, and that's okay, of course. That's why they picked Terran in the first place. They're like, which race fits my intellect the best? And they're like, oh, Terran. Can play this with 25 IQ, that's great. Terran's always telling me, he's like, oh, the counter to proxy barracks is just scouting really early. But it's not actually the case here. It's not actually the case, and I'm about to explain to you why that isn't actually the case. It's because even if you get a very quick scout, and imagine Astrea would have started looking around with a probe, there is no guarantee that you are going to end up finding this barracks. In this case, there is a possibility Astrea would have found it quickly. You probably first want to scout around your natural, and maybe you go over here, or maybe you go over here first. You need to make a decision. But what if the Terran builds the barracks over here defensively, or in the middle of the map? You're never going to find it. So it is a huge risk to send out this scout early, and then also send out a secondary scout, because it basically says, hey, I have way less minerals than I would have in a standard game right now. And that's just not good. For example, this core was, I think, it finished about 2 seconds late just because of that fast scout. Just because of the fast scout. That sucks. That really ain't great. Because you're sending out a worker before the pylon. That means your first pylon is going to be delayed. That means that your first gate is going to be delayed. Wait, did he cancel that Zealot? I recall there being a Zealot in production here. I guess it did get cancelled, as this Reaper leaves a little bit too early in my mind. Took a lot of damage here fighting the probes. Only ended up getting 1 kill. Still completely fine. Ooh, Marauder as a follow-up. This is one of those tricky ones where it can be quite hard to make a good read on this. How would you make a good read on this? I don't actually know. I think you just always need a battery on the low ground if you're playing against a proxy and you're not seeing that CC at a reasonable time. Oh my god, he missed it. Oh no, Astrea missed it. Concussive shells isn't done yet. Perhaps a recall is a serious possibility here. But this sucks. This sucks. He's gonna walk past it just as Concussive is about to finish up. Okay, now sees this Marauder. No, don't shoot it! Oh, okay. Escapes here, just barely. Very close, very close. Needs to send the adapting first. No, Astrea with some major miscontrol here. Loses that first Stalker. Adept now in some trouble as well. It's Gumiho pushing in forward. Gumiho pushing in forward. Battery is done though. Probes off the line. This CC hasn't started yet. This supply blocked. Oh my god, you can't make this stuff up. Gumiho with some truly god-awful mechanics so far in this series has just not been on top of it. This is an awful supply block. If you're all-inning someone and you can't build the units you're supposed to be all-inning with, that's terrible. Astrea was already anticipating the move into the main base. He's like, oh, isn't this the build with a medevac in my main? And Gumiho's like, yeah, it's supposed to be. Forgot about the depot. I don't quite have the medevac today. All right, I see. So Astrea, they're kind of mind-gaming himself, or well, actually with the proper response, and except for this game, it wasn't a proper response. Let's have that battery still alive. 29 workers to 27 in favor of Gumiho, who's halfway done here with this command center. Medevac about to finish up as well. I mean, this is ridiculously late for a medevac. Double barracks going down at the same time. Whenever you see 2 barracks starting at the same time, that is usually a sign that the Terran player was floating some significant cash. Because if you build the barracks right as you get the money, there's going to be a stagger in the barracks production, of course, right? Like there's going to be a 5 or 6 seconds in between it, but we see those finish at exactly the same time. That is an indicator that the macro there wasn't solid. And this is really, I think, the main criticism that we can have realistically so far directed at Gumiho is that the builds have been cool, and the execution of the builds have not been bad either, but the macro that's backing it up, or the overall mechanics, have just been, honestly, for a player of his caliber, have been fairly disappointing. They have not been good. They really have not been. And that is important as well. The theoretical aspect of Starcraft should not be underrated, but this should be mechanical part. And this is going to fail here. Going to get shut down. I still believe that Gumiho has a significant lead. I also believe that Gumiho had a very significant lead in that last game, by the way. So he should not be a stranger to leads versus Astrea. Astrea also is not a stranger to making comebacks against Gumiho. That's what he did in that last game. Once again, with that weird 2-base into Twilight. Both players here kind of making a mockery of the standard play here. It's really interesting to watch. Both players with a tendency to make games a bit more chaotic than they need to be. So we have 5 random Cyclones producers. I have no clue what these guys are up to. Another supply block here out of Gumiho. Uses the supply drop. Was already building 2 depots. I'm not going to keep repeating it, but this is actually very sloppy. And it is uncommon, I think, to see this at the level that he's playing at. Of course, this was played at an offline event where jet lag always does play a factor. Unless you fly in towards that region a couple of days before, of course. The very brilliant players might have done. Fight that jet lag off. Cyclone now moving in forward. Going to take out that pro. One pro goes down. Second pro might fall. Hey, it's a wild move, honestly. Did this really deal more damage than a mine drop would have dealt? I don't think so. I think a mine drop would have actually dealt more damage. Probably would have pulled these units away for longer, and you can't really go back in with a Cyclone drop like you can with a mine drop, you know? You can't. Then again, Cyclones are really cheap these days, so it's not like he's wasting a lot of cash. If you would have done this with the old Cyclone, everyone would have called you a moron. But here, not that bad maybe. Interesting little push out. Once again, no combat shield quite yet. This seems to be a Gumiho special, saying, hey, I want many more Marines in my army. And I can delay my combat shield a little bit for it. So it gets that second reactor rather than a second tech lab. Extremely uncommon. You really never see this at the high. Like just never. This just doesn't happen. There's no one else that does it at the professional level. I'm very positive about this. Third base here is going to get taken out. I really do like the setup here for this boost. +1 has finished as well. These Marines are dealing a lot of damage. You can get some good pre-splits here. I mean, this could actually be the end of this game. This might actually just be the end of this game. Yeah, and then the Gumiho here realizes, okay, wait a second, I have way more units than you do. I can just go for all of these pre-splits. And if I don't get hit by a storm on 12 Marines, then it should be fine. These bad boys are all together. Stimps them back. And you have this tank for the long distance, right? No storm. Okay. Felt like that was worth it there for Astrea to storm it, but Astrea doesn't agree. That ain't a new storm. Takes out a lot of these Marines. Still don't have combat shield. Second storm also connects. Third storm is god awful, but it might not even matter Astrea, can he hold this? He's trying to warp in Zealots here. What's the gateway count? But he said, oh, it's 2. Oh, I thought Astrea... I thought Astrea was working with like 8 gateways or so. It's not the case at all here. Astrea... Oh, okay, well, his infrastructure is god-awful. There's a lot of cash in the bank as well. A lot of cash in the bank. Holy cow. Showing quite a bit of money there. 2 Liberators now being added in. I think this is a good call. 3rd base is already done as well. This is going to be almost impossible to lose here for Gumiho. Astrea is going to try to make it happen as he adds in 4 more gates onto his already existing 2. It's going to bring the total up to 6 for the mathematical geniuses keeping track. Battery gets sniped. That means no more super battery here at the front. Sucks because it was just about to become available again, or it's available on cooldown. There's just no energy on those Nexi right now. Used on the Immortal instead. Perhaps a regrettable little action there, throttling that Immortal over using the battery one last time aggressively. Because now, 2 tanks with such a low gateway unit count is just going to be tricky. Storms don't quite connect either. Robo gets unpowered here, and GG gets called as Astrea sees no way out except by tapping out. That brings us to the 3rd game in this series, in which Astrea knows a little bit more fear as he scouts around. Low ground gateway. This is an interesting move, okay? I like this move as well. I think it is one that is underrated currently in the landscape of Protoss builds. You know, there's a lot of builds in the Protoss landscape, and I think every now and again you see one thing that gets underrated a bit, and then it gets abused by tosses because Terrans, you know, they don't get to practice against it, then it goes away. I think right now it is really common for Terran players to open up without a scout. And as I say that, of course, Gumiho opens up with a scout, which is insane as he's playing double gas. Like, this almost never happens. That's a story for another time, though. But very often these days, what Terrans do is they'll play Reaper openers with a no scout, basically, and they'll scout around their base with a Reaper. Now, this is completely fine against things like a 1-gate proxy, but it could mean that if your opponent opens up with a low ground gateway, chronos out an adept and sends it across the map and spends a little time blocking your natural, is that this could just delay that Terran natural by, well, a significant amount of time. That's just the reality of things here. Luckily for Gumiho, that's not the case. Gumiho also scouts this. Now gets to make an intelligent call as to what is the correct thing to do. I think it's going to be a high ground command center, because we see a Reaper into reactor. So there are 2 follow-ups out of a double gas opener when it comes to the barracks. Either you get a 2nd Reaper, and you get a Hellion with that, and you go for a 2 Reaper Hellion attack, and then you follow that up with a reactor. Or you go Reaper into reactor. Now, the problem with Reaper into reactor is that if you build the low ground command center, is that you don't have enough units to defend it. Well, if you get a 2nd Reaper, you do have enough units to defend that. And here we're actually going to see that in action. I love it when I mention something and it actually ends up happening. So a lot of Terran players, when they play Reaper into Reactor, will get a CC on the high ground. While if they play Reaper into Reaper, they will get the CC on the low ground. Because with Reaper into Reaper, it's safe. Significant delay here on this command center. Very significant delay. As once more, we see Gumiho with just an insane supply block. The 3rd depot here being forgotten is... It's painful. It's really painful. Hey, this is seriously cutting into his unit production. And if you're playing 2 gas, that is fairly vital in my opinion. We have another depot here being added. I'm not sure if usually you also need this particular depot before the CC finishes. I think you might not actually. I think usually your CC is the one that unsupply blocks you in that particular case. We have a 2nd tank on the way. This is going to be a serious effort here out of Gumiho to try and straight up win the game. Battery position though, I think it's just perfect against this. Far forward in the wall rather than those lame backwards batteries that we sometimes see out of wank Protoss players. Like, oh, I want to defend the middle. I say, no, you want to defend your front. I also put it here very often, a little bit in the back, to be honest. But I like what Astrea is doing here. I like what Astrea is doing. I think it's good. I really do believe it's good. Has a battery in the main as well, and is opting for a 3-gate blink. Now, usually I'd say, well, it's surely going to be a a prism over here, right? A little bit of pressure coming out, but it's not the case. It's not the case. Astrea is one of those players that likes playing macro-oriented 3-gate blink builds. That's kind of his golden standard, is the 3-gate blink opener into a third nexus. And there's not that many Protosses that do that, so that makes it hard sometimes for Terrans to pick the right build against Astrea, because they might not have enough experience against it and know and understand what is good against this particular build order. I don't think that pushing is good against this build order. That is my professional opinion. The production on Astrea's side is going to be good. He's going to have blink to deal with it. And he also has a battery. I wonder what the correct target fire here is. I want to say it's Marines rather than tanks initially. Ooh, good control. Wow, that was real nice blinking here. That was phenomenal blinking coming out of Astrea. I think Astrea just is going to straight up hold this. Snipe the medevac here as well. Taking out a Reaper. SCV's now going down. I think target fire on Marines might just be a little bit better. But it might be hard to do here for him, as this final tank is also going to fall. I think Astrea just wins the game then straight up. No, this was a terrible push here. Yeah, out of Gumiho. A little bit unlucky that Astrea went for that 3-gate blink. But then again, it kind of is his golden standard. So with a little bit of preparation here, might have been better. Yeah, not a bad series, not a bad. I'm not sure if everybody say this is one of the best series, the entirety of DreamHack Atlanta, because that's what it. I just read the Reddit thread, guys. I was like, oh, okay, let's see what the best series are according to the people. And this was one of them. It's not a bad series, very action-packed, lots of build orders. And I guess the cool thing is with these players is that you kind of get these unconventional game plans, right? Just a different type of openers, very often different type of ways that the game plays out. And fairly often extremely chaotic and action-packed. And I think that was the case in this series as well. So that was fun. I hope you all enjoyed it too. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.